50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech home. February 13th, get your tickets right now. It's going down. We know Florida gonna be there. Miami gonna be there. The legend himself gonna be in the building, making history. Meech, who else coming?
The whole nation, Detroit, St. Louis, California, everybody. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, stand up.
Woo. We're gonna make history. Get your tickets right.
This one shook the game up because Big Meech finally snapped on Rick Ross and the streets are buzzing. The man whose name helped build one of the biggest hustler images in rap is now saying Ross turned his back on him. Word is, from behind those prison walls, Big Meech let it be known he feels betrayed. After all, Rick Ross made millions off that boss persona, shouting out BMF in songs, living that lavish lifestyle, and calling himself the biggest. But the real biggest, the one who inspired that whole energy, is sitting behind bars watching Ross live it up without ever showing proper love. And that's got Meech heated. Let's rewind for a second. Back in the mid-2000s, Ross's breakout hit Blowin' Money Fast made him a star. But that song wasn't just a banger. It was built straight off the BMF legacy. The hook literally said, "I think I'm Big Meech." Those words became iconic. Every club, every car stereo, every street corner was echoing the name of the man who once ran one of the biggest organizations in the country. Ross made it sound like he was part of that movement, like he carried the same weight. But here's the truth. Ross never met Meech in person. It was all inspiration from afar. And now, years later, Meech is saying that respect turned into exploitation. Sources close to the BMF circle say Meech felt disrespected when Ross stopped answering messages from mutual contacts. No letters, no phone support, not even a public shout-out once Meech's case hit new developments. It was like Ross used the name, then dipped once the heat got too real. Reports say Meech sent out a direct message from prison through a close friend, basically saying, "Don't ever call yourself Big Meech again if you ain't solid enough to stand with the real one." That line alone lit the internet up. Fans started dragging Ross online, saying he built his entire brand off another man's legacy. And that's when 50 Cent jumped in. Because of course he did. 50 been waiting on this moment ever since Ross used BMF's story for clout. Remember, 50 runs the hit TV series BMF, which is literally based on Big Meech's real life. So when the news broke that Meech was calling out Ross, 50 couldn't resist. He posted a cryptic message on Instagram saying, "The streets remember who's who. Loyalty don't expire." You already know what that means. That's 50 saying Ross finally got exposed. This whole thing ain't just another celebrity feud. It's deeper than rap. We're talking about legacy, loyalty, and who really lives what they rap about. And when the real Big Meech speaks, the streets listen. So when he said Ross cut him off, that wasn't just gossip. That was a shot straight through the image of the boss.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright.
I wasn't gonna address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
After word got out that Big Meech was heated, the internet exploded. Every blog, every hip-hop page, every fan discussion turned into one question. Did Rick Ross really cut off the man who made his image possible? See, to understand why Meech feels so disrespected, you gotta remember how deep this goes. Ross didn't just name-drop BMF once, he built a whole identity off it. From blowing money fast to calling himself the biggest boss, he's been walking around for years like the embodiment of Meech's lifestyle. But in the real world, the man behind bars feels like he's being erased from his own story. Insiders close to Meech say the message wasn't even about money. It was about respect. He reportedly told friends, "I don't want his handout. I just want acknowledgement. Don't act like you self-made when you built your brand off my name." That right there hit fans different. Because truth is, Ross's rise in the 2010 S wasn't just about his talent. It was about the myth he created. People saw him as this larger-than-life hustler turned mogul. But when you strip the gloss off, that image came straight from BMF's legend. And that's where 50 Cent comes in again, throwing gasoline on the fire. He posted another jab online saying, Ross was screaming Big Meech's name, now he don't pick up the phone? Typical. You know 50 loves messy situations, and he's been calling Ross fake for over a decade. He even joked that Ross should cut Meech a royalty check for using his name. Fans went wild in the comments saying things like, Ross borrowed the lifestyle, but 50's the one honoring it. And they're not wrong. 50 actually helped bring Meech's legacy to mainstream TV with the BMF series, working closely with Meech's son, Lil Meech. Meanwhile, Ross has been silent. No response, no clarification. Just silence. And that silence speaks volumes. The more people looked at the timeline, the more suspicious it got. When BMF premiered, Ross didn't promote it. When Lil Meech started blowing up, Ross didn't show love. And when Meech's name came up in news headlines about sentence reductions, Ross said nothing. It's like he vanished from that entire conversation. Fans started realizing Ross might have distanced himself once it wasn't convenient to stand next to the BMF name. And if that's true, that's the definition of fake loyalty. People online started saying Ross used Meech the same way he used that boss talk, as branding. It's wild because for years Ross's interviews made it sound like he and Meech were tight. But when the real one reached out from behind bars, he got silence. That's when the streets turned. The same fans who once called Ross a real boss started calling him a studio hustler. And now with Meech speaking up, the truth's finally coming out loud and clear.
I want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Have you ever seen anybody confront Rick Ross about you?
Not in person, no. Anytime I'm around, he disappears.
But is there any video of anybody like, hey, why are you running around with this dude's name?
By this point, the story had gone viral, and 50 Cent wasn't letting up. You know 50, once he smells blood, it's over. He started trolling Ross heavy, posting throwback pictures of BMF days and writing captions like, "You can't buy this kind of respect." Then he dropped a short clip of Lil Meech on set with the caption, "The real family's still standing strong." Fans instantly caught the shade. That was 50 saying Ross is an outsider to the legacy he pretends to represent. Meanwhile, reports came out that Big Meech personally called 50 from prison, thanking him for keeping the BMF story alive through the show. That move made Ross look even worse because it showed who really stood by Meech through all the ups and downs. Insiders say Meech has been quietly building connections with Hollywood producers through 50's circle, and he wants his story told right, not watered down by people who just use the name for clout. Ross tried to play it cool at first, posting pictures of his mansion and cars like nothing was wrong. But fans weren't having it. Every post got flooded with comments like, "Meech made you," "Where's your loyalty?" and "Real bosses don't ghost real ones." Even some rappers chimed in. A few Southern OGs said they felt Ross owed the man a public apology. One even said, "You don't scream another man's name on records for years and then forget him when the lights go out." Behind the scenes, some sources claim Ross's team actually tried to reach out to BMF's people after the backlash, but it was too late. Once Meech's message hit the streets, the damage was done. DC and Detroit fans especially took it personal. To them, Meech isn't just a name. He's part of history, and when you use his image without respect, it's like you disrespected the whole culture. What made things worse is how 50 used every opportunity to remind people who's the real storyteller now. He went live and said, "The difference between me and Ross is I work with the real family. He just used the name." That's straight venom, but also truth. 50 didn't need to exaggerate. The facts were already clear. He turned a real-life story into a legit empire while Ross was still trying to keep his fake boss narrative alive. By now, fans were calling it poetic justice. Ross built his empire off another man's legacy, and now that same man's calling him out publicly. It's like the universe flipped the script. The so-called biggest boss got checked by the biggest influence he ever had. As the tension hit its peak, both the rap world and the streets were watching what Ross would do next. Would he address Big Meech? Would he finally show respect? Or keep playing quiet? Weeks went by, and nothing. No apology, no statement, not even a no disrespect post. That silence said everything. It made him look guilty, like he knew he couldn't talk his way out of it. Because when the real Meech speaks, ain't nothing left to prove. Meanwhile, 50 Cent doubled down one last time. He posted a photo of himself with Lil Meech, both smiling on the set of BMF, and captioned it, "Real recognizes real. We good on this side." That post went viral instantly. Fans said 50 wasn't just promoting, he was making a statement. And you could feel it. The power dynamic had officially shifted. Ross's boss energy didn't hit the same anymore. The word big belonged to Meech, and the word loyal belonged to 50. The crazy part is this beef exposed something deeper, how fake loyalty runs in the entertainment world. Rappers scream people's names for credibility. But when it's time to stand by those names, they disappear. Meech's call out wasn't just about one man. It was a message to the whole industry. Stop profiting off real street stories if you ain't built like that. That's why his words hit so hard. It wasn't about hate, it was about integrity. Fans been saying the same thing. Ross can have all the money in the world, but his brand lost weight overnight. You can't claim the biggest boss title when the real boss says you're fake. And now that 50's publicly standing next to Meech's legacy, it's game over. The contrast is too obvious. One man built his career off fiction, the other is documenting truth. Even hip-hop historians started weighing in. One writer said, Ross built his mansion on borrowed bricks. Meech's story gave him the foundation. That line spread fast, and fans repeated it everywhere. Because it's real. When you use someone's legacy for your image, you better respect that legacy forever. Now, Big Meech's message has turned into a viral mantra across social media. People are saying, loyalty over luxury. The streets love Ross's music, but they love realness more. And when 50 Cent dropped his final post saying, God don't like frauds, it sealed it. Rick Ross might still have the fame, but the people see through it now. Big Meech reminded everyone who started the wave. And 50, he made sure the truth stayed loud enough for the whole world to hear. Because in this game, one thing's for sure, money fades, but respect is forever.